Okay, these are moon photographs that I'm running through on my turntable. These are just moon photographs that I downloaded online. I still haven't made it to any of mine. I've got about 20 of them right here, all with little circles in the middle that I'm running through on this turntable so that I can later go back. I'm explaining in other videos too. I'll go back and remaster them later. Um, and right now I'm just adjusting some of my lights so I can bring you this imagery. The turntable does work good, but I gotta keep an eye out for glare and shit like that. But I'm just sitting back here making some music and stuff anyways. So I'm really just kind of trying out this equipment, tweaking it here and there where I want, changing filters, and we're in fairly deep. Oh, and I was saying, these are just research vids. So what I'm going to do is later on, once I run all these through on paper, I can sit down behind the computer, show you on paper, the ones on the computer, explain to you again that you can just go outside and see this all with your own eyes. You don't have to, you don't need any fancy equipment. I'm using shit equipment. You can all see, you don't need any equipment at all really to see all the large images. Fucking thing, man. I gotta move that wire. Yeah, this is good. Alright. Yeah, it's good. Good enough. So I'm gonna keep letting it run through at this depth while I try to put together a soundtrack that I'm trying to put together. I guess we don't touch those back then. Kind of like that one. Okay, I'm going to change the angle and the filter color. I'm going to go with the green filter. I'm going to change the angle. So there's the image that I was tracing out yesterday. It's pretty decent there because to see, you're not going to see, you'll see the clarity and you'll be able to pick out all of the, and that's the thing that's nice about this turntable too, is it turns nice and slow. So it gives your eyes a chance to absorb the imagery. So look at, there's one eye here, I can't touch the thing, but eye here, eye here, eye here, eye here. And then, oh, his face already changed? Yeah, his face, maybe. Oh, no, okay. No, you can still probably get him. At this angle, his face is going to look a little more beastly, but you can still see the beard and mustache. But see the intent of the builders? In other words, the tracing, you know, the tracing, if you were to trace out all of these images, if I take all that tracing, this is what I was saying the tattoo artist had a hard time with, was because when I brought him in, I told him when I brought him these images, the one I was going for was, he's coming up on the other side. I'll show it to you before this video ends. We'll go over to him. But the one I was going for, I put masking tape around the image and then pull it out of the plastic, the moon photograph out of the plastic, and then they'd freak out. But anyways, they said that the ink would bleed into each other. And what I was saying about me tracing it, I cannot do it justice unless I was to do it under a microscope. So I might try to trace under the microscope, but I'm going to bring you under the microscope either way, because it's a good chance to see what I'm saying. And I'm going to start showing people how to tell the difference between, because I know it's coming. I know it's fucking coming. If not from Rufus, from somebody else. When we go over to the computer, the bitch is going to be, we'll leave the photographs and then we'll go over to the computer, and then, which is going to be tonight. I'm going to start over there again tonight. I did a few yesterday. And I know what they're going to say. They're going to say that that's imagery that's in the computer or some shit like that. Listen, it's verifiable, it's matchable. And then there is these shadow images that show up in your computer, but they're square pixel. They're easy to separate, at least for me they are. They're easy to separate from all the triangular pixels that I'm telling you about that make up the system we live in. And the system that we live in is the real system. You can go and see it for yourself that it's all triangular pixels. You don't have to take my word on it. Once you start looking at all this, you'll see. And then what I'm going to show you is that all those little lines that you're looking at, I mean, they're little now because, of course, it's printed up on paper. But it doesn't matter. The imagery is always the same and the lines are always the same. That area that we call the moon, whatever heavy metals and minerals that area is made up of, it's not a big ball floating in what you think is outer space or none of them bullshit stories. That's not what the moon is. But the area that makes up that moon, the heavy metals and minerals that make it, the builders will build it depending on its heavy metal and mineral makeup. Just like everything else. Just like everything else. Just like the smoke. Just like the ice. Just like the steam. That's why I'm telling you guys, you'll start a fire in your yard. Record it. And then go back and look at the fire. Pause and play. Pause and play. Look at the imagery that's in the smoke. Don't feel like it's... this is the reality. This is the reality of it. You can actually see it for yourselves. Your imagination is when you close your eyes and listen to Harald Kautz, and Harold tells you all kinds of bullshit that you cannot see and prove for yourself. You have to take their words on it. All of them, not just Harold, but about what I'm doing here, as crazy it may sound, and it may sound nuts to everybody. Of course it does. You think I didn't know that before I started all this? Of course I did. I tested it out all around me first before I went out with it. But I'm so fucking confident because I can see it all now. So if I can see it all and I'm getting better at showing it to you, it's to the point now where I think this is undeniable. I mean, I can really lay into it. I may be giving you some bad angles now that are not great angles, but I need you to see the imagery in all different ways. I need you to understand the system as we're going along. And I explain the shit out of it, not in every video. Right now, I'm just running up my research vids for the moon so that I'll have them all. And then once I got them all, it's much easier for me to go in on those research vids and just work with all the research vids I just made, rather than trying to bring you in individually on each moon and everything. And then you got to remember, once I'm off the moon, then we're going to get back to the mineral streets and the cloud level. And then meanwhile, I'm going to jump around like I've been doing here and there, go in the trees, go in the ice, go in the water, you know, shit like that. It's digital collection of electromagnetic nanocarbon from whatever area I choose under this realm to go check it out. So again, look, look at the lines as it's coming through, of that face that I was showing you. And see the eyes, see what traces out the eyes, see what traces out the nose. Now, every little fucking nook and cranny of that tracing that these builders built that, and they built it. They're always building it, just like I was telling you about us. They built that moon depending on its heavy metals and mineral makeup, and they are continued to build that moon. Those builders are dedicated to building that moon for its entire existence of the moon. They're not going to leave. Now, there are some little things here, like finding that the constellations all pop out through the moon. All those little white dots everywhere are going to end up being the constellations. I mean, there's definitely evidence for me to see this more and more every day. Every day I'm working on this model, and I'm like, this is fucking unbelievable. I can't believe how easy this is. This is all going way too easy. It just means that it was all there all along, and we have all been so fucking distracted with our scientific bullshit stories that we never fucking gone and looked. Unbelievable. But one of the things that I'm working on is that the wandering stars and where they are. So what I'm going to start doing now, I'll start making note of it, and I'll start posting those videos, but I'm going to take photographs of the moon several times, several of them, throughout the month, every month for the next year. And then at the end of the year, I'm going to put them all, I'm going to wait till the end of the year, and I'll put them all aside, I'll put all the photos aside, I'll print them up just in case my computer crashes or something, and I'll have them printed up, and then at the end of the year, I'm going to start looking very carefully to see if any of those white dots move. And my guess is that they do. I'm guessing the ones that are the wandering stars. I think those white spots on the moon that I never would have noticed move ever before, now I think I'll be able to notice if I see them move. Especially if I go by the size, because if this is right, and this is all going right, the moon map model ends up being correct, then the most outer layer of the veil is the stationary stars. The next level down in towards us is going to be, and I say down towards us because there really is no up, down, left, right, backward, forward in this system. So that's another thing that, we have to get used to that when I'm talking about these things. But according to us, according to our human rules, what I mean is down towards us. Then the next layer would be the wandering stars, and you've got these layers of the veil. And even calling it a veil, I don't want to call it an egg, because it's not necessarily an egg, but that would be the shape of the realm that I'm just trying to describe. And then that still doesn't do it justice, because, see, if I say it as an egg, I'm going to give you a demonstration on it, but you have to picture that egg can be in any direction. Inside the egg, whatever we think as humans, we think we're living on the top half of the yolk. Let's say, if we're going to talk about it being an egg, we're on the top half. Well, there really is no top half inside that egg. inside that egg there is, but not on the outside. That egg could be going in any which direction, and inside we all just think that that's up and that's down. And it's even more than that. Not only is it not up and down, but it's also not left, right, backward, forward, up and down. None of those things. It's an electromagnetic nanocarbon system, and there's a electromagnetic nanocarbon core at our north, and then there's the what we would consider the brushes at the left, which is also electromagnetic nanocarbon, all around us. Okay, and it's nice to have the model out. When I get the model out, I'll explain this shit a little bit better of what I'm seeing. Um, and that you can all go see too. It's not a fucking secret. That's the fun most. That's what I was starting to say. That's one of the coolest parts about all this is that it's really not a secret. It's all right there for us to see, but everyone will refuse to go look. You know, so it's kind of funny the way it works. Um, and everybody's like, well, what's the secret? What's the theory? No, it's not a theory, man. It's fucking fact. You can go see it and look at it for shit for yourself. No one hides it. They just distract you. They offer you millions and billions of fucking distractions. But as far as, it doesn't, no. Doesn't work that way. So now I'm going to leave this one over this way. I might move this light around a little bit. Let's see. I'll move this light to around here just for the fuck of it. Yeah, this thing's nice for working on the turntable. This glass. There we go, somewhere around there for the time being. I mean, you should be able to see this imagery. It's clear as fucking day to me. Even if you only cut some of them out of the millions and millions that I'm going by over the last couple of weeks throughout the moon. I'm going to point them all out to you individually, not all of them, but I'm going to point thousands of them out to you as we go through this. Once I point to them, they will be clear. You will see them, and I'll say eye, nose, mouth, and I'll try to give you a general circular motion around it, and then you'll have it. And then on plastic, I'm going to start tracing them out, but I'm going to trace them out larger than the image. I'm just going to kind of like crop the images with markers and tape. I'm not going to, because that's easier than tracing. And like I said, if I'm going to keep fucking them up, I don't want to damage the builder's work, because that's what I'm trying to show you is that the builders want to be seen. The builders want their work to be seen. And we hide it in every which way that we can. It's amazing. It's really amazing. And we started trying to hide the builder's work a long time ago, too. That's the fucking thing. You can look back. You'll hear me talk about a time when we were much more electrical, and we were moving these 350-ton stones, cutting them out of the fucking mountains, precision cuts, moving them hundreds of miles away, and all this kind of shit. One of the things that I'll mention when we go over that stuff again later in this series, because I'm going to talk about it even in this series, because it's big evidence for everybody if you look at it. Why, I asked myself, why did we need those stones so smooth to the point where they were polished? Well, when you try looking in on them, it's the same thing with us making mirrors or painting a car or something of that nature, where we're putting a shine on something to make a reflection. And then, or just sometimes a shine, but it usually comes to reflection. Only in a paint job, like if there's orange peel or any kind of texture at all, you can get the imagery out. The imagery, of course, is feline, canine, rodent, ape, human, and beast. The only reason I don't usually go in on that shit is because it's human influence and people will get confused. So I kind of stay away from it usually. Once in a while, to have some fun, I will do it. Yeah, so why did they polish those stones? You know, why were we, not they, why were we as more electrical, definitely way more electrical than we are today, because we were obviously using the electromagnetic nanocarbon system to move those stones and cut them and then cut the stones and move them and everything, and then put them into place and all that. That was all done with electromagnetics. we did all that work ourselves with electromagnetics, and we had that ability. Same way that we control the weather, like I was telling you guys. We'll get into more of that when they start going over the mineral streets, what you guys will call chemtrails. But we can control that weather, and that's the same thing. It's the same tools. Those are the same tools that we used to use to move those stones and cut them stones. Was the weather, what we today call weather. You can see how easy it is to use and everything like that. We were much smarter. All this, we went from analog to the computer digital shit, and it's all garbage compared to the real system. It really is. If you go and look at the real system, you'll begin to see what I'm talking about, and you're like, oh man, yeah, because really we could be all moving ourselves using electromagnetic ability. There's no use of any utilities or anything, none of that shit. The power and the energy is all around us. It's all free energy. Instead, what do? We all pay for it. And that's besides the point. Even like the food, there's something to that I'm looking for. Animals, animal proteins, and everything like that. When did things really start going bad? Was it when Adam and Eve ate the apple from the tree of life? Is that really where it started going wrong? Because that story, I don't take it the same way that you guys would take that, just like anything else. I would take that story now, at this point in my life, to mean that we were not supposed to be eating from the tree of life, because the tree of life is this bio life. It's the bio life. We did not need to eat. We didn't even need teeth. We didn't need ears. We didn't need eyes to see. We didn't need ears to hear. We didn't need these things back then. So at what point did this all change for us? Did it happen real fast, during one of the other programs, and do the programs change over very quickly? Or is it this 6,000 year run, and then there's a total wipeout, and then we start over again? Because the feline, canine, rodent, ape, human, and beast imagery is the reason why I say that. Now, I did just find another image in the moon, at the top, that I'm wondering about. I don't want to shake the camera around now to show it, but that might be outside the imagery. I don't know what it looks like. The face of it almost looks like a giraffe, almost, I'd say. But there's no body, so as usual, there's no body. So with no body, it's hard. It's even harder to tell. If you see this big long neck or something like that, it's a different story. But I only get the face. This is as crazy as this all sounds. All this shit that I'm throwing at you guys, think about this, it doesn't take anything for anyone to go look, okay? So if anybody goes and looks, that's my whole thing, is getting people to admit that they looked, and they're going to walk away and say, you're nuts, oh, you're crazy. That's it, that's all they got to do. So as far as Harald goes right now, and I mean, there's many people asking me what it is that I need Harald to, what am I looking for on this? What am I out to prove, was one of the things. And what's the point of, calling out Harald in the first place? Someone asked. The point is that the people that have fame, whether it's YouTube fame, fuck the mainstreamers, man. Fuck mainstream. Like people like Alex Jones and Joe Rogan and all the mainstreamers. No way, man. I even History Channel. It was so aggravating to work in History Channel. Everybody's all CGI, no fucking reality, based on no truth, none of the shit they fucking say. It's always opposite. It's easy to read them now for me, compared to years ago. They might have, I might have believed some of their bullshit. But now, nah. And then when I'm able to show this to you guys, as good as I'm showing, I'm going back and watching the videos, and I'm using my own. I'm not going to take anybody else's opinion on it. I'm going back and watching the videos. I'm like, yes, I can see it. Yep, it's very clear. The only thing I noticed is I look. No one else looks. They'll look at the table. They'll look at the ceiling. They'll look at their phone because some other YouTubers on that they like or something. But they're not looking at what I'm showing them. They'll turn their heads as soon as they see what it is I'm trying to show them. They turn their heads. So, uh, so what I'm looking to do is I'm looking for the people that I'm calling out to come in and say at some point and say, yeah, I see what you're saying. And my hope is that they'll look at it for a little while and then they'll see it and they'll start to understand it more. They can make their own judgments and interpretations on what it is they're seeing, but to say that what I'm showing you here is imagination and saying that space aliens or God or anything that you cannot prove is the reality makes no fucking sense. You guys really got to think about the shit that you're saying. I mean, it makes no fucking sense at all to say that God, space aliens, all these other dimensions, and all the shit that you guys make up out there. Well, you don't make it up. You get it from the books, from the school, the education, and the movies, and all that shit. So I understand that part of it. But the point is that when someone like myself, here I am bringing you the truth that you don't want to fucking look at, you don't want to see it, you don't want to hear this, is some of you guys love conspiracies, but yet this is the biggest fucking conspiracy ever known to humankind, and you won't even look at it. You go listen to Alex Jones and fucking listen to Joe Rogan or listen to all these other conspiracy people talking shit that they can't prove. And I'm showing you shit that you can see for yourselves. That's why I'm showing it to you in the ways that I'm showing it to you. I'm changing light around in front of you. I'm not doing it behind your back and saying, oh, look at this, you got to have a Hydron telescope to look at the... No, I'm opposite of that. I'm telling you, if you all take a few minutes, step back, and go look, you'll see it all. But it's hard, you got birthday parties, Christmas parties, anniversaries, weddings, Lion Mama Kona-19 virus. You got a different war every fucking day. You got presidential elections. You got politics. You got work. You got social skills. You got fucking cars and all the shit you got to worry about. You got to make sure everything's insured and registered, and the kids need to do this, and you got to take your vacation a couple times a year, and just life is fucking busy. No one's got time to look at reality. Give me Fantasyland. Let me turn on the television, turn on the movie, and sometimes you'll keep me in fear. Other times you'll keep me happy. I like that. It's an emotional roller coaster, but at least nothing is based on reality. All right, so that makes everybody happy. I don't know fucking why, man. I don't know why we sold out like we did, because we had the system. Back to what I was saying about before this video ends. Back to what I was saying about the mineral streets. The mineral streets. Once you lay out the heavy metals and minerals, those fucking builders will build you anything you want. So if you know the system, then it's easy enough. So let's say we wanted lightning and we wanted to designate a certain area of stone to be cut, and the lightning was going to cut right through the fucking stone, and we wanted it to be perfectly cut. We could even, I'm sure, I hate to use the word, like I always hate to use that word plasma, but if you picture the lightning as a plasma event, whenever you wanted it, at your beck and call, and you can just pull the plasma right here to the side of the mountain and fucking cut into the side of the mountain by doing that. Now, we had those tools before. We were controlling all that. The human population wasn't so human. And then somewhere along the line, we lost it all during one of the other programs, or it was right from the beginning of the program, but it's obviously a program. I mean, seeing the imagery proves to me that it is a program. My question is why feline, canine, rodent, ape, human, and beast in the program, but yet I can look around me in my reality and go pet a cow or whatever, what I'm thinking is that they were all put in later program, in this latest program, or one of the later programs, where the feline, canine, rodent, ape, human, and beast have been in many, many programs going on for many hundreds of thousands of years, for all I know. Something more along those lines. And I don't know when I don't know which program it was that we built all those structures that I'm talking about. using those kind of stones, those precision cuts, those kind of carrying methods of carrying the stone and everything like that. So some of this shit, of course, is hypothetical, but it's based on what I'm seeing in the system. So if I can see that the weather's being controlled, it's not being used to cut anything. It's not being used to give us electricity in our houses or anything like that. No, it's changed. It's changed to 110 and high voltage and electricity and everything. It's unnecessary to have all that. It's overkill. It's overkill that. So that stuff I can see, and anybody can. We can all see that shit. So to get you guys to see the imagery and see the builders is a big part of this. And by going into the moon, this is a big part of the evidence because it's the moon. You guys all think that it's a big ball fucking floating around in outer space. That's ridiculous. It's nonsense. It's nothing like that. So if we start there, and I can prove to you that the imagery is there, and then we can go back and forth from clouds to smoke to steam. Then we got 100 years of television that you can go in on that have clouds and smoke and steam and moon videos and water and all these things. So you can go back and confirm. You have a little bit of, now that you're going to be facing reality, it's a good idea to look back and say, well, how long has this been going on that I missed it? So you don't get confused and think that this all just happened in the last 10 or 15 years. Nah, it's always been this way. We've just been so fucking distracted, so dumbed down. This is what we've made of it. And then when you try to wake people up, you're the bad guy. No, we just want to fucking go, well, we like living in zombie world. No, thank you. We don't want any reality. I don't know what that is. If it's subconscious fear of not wanting to be bothered, I don't know. But I know it's not a joke because my family, my friends, I mean, thousands of people on the street that I've called out about these things over the last 2 years, they all feel the same way that you listening now do. They all feel the same fucking way. They run from it, okay? And they see way more than I'm able to show you because you have control of your mouse. You can just shut it off right away. With them, I have them here. So I have them here and I'm putting their face in it. And you see this? Yes, I see that. You see this? Yes, I see that. Okay, well now look over here. Do you see this? Yes, I see that. And, and then so they'll see it and they'll even name the image. And it doesn't matter if it's the clouds, the moon. Sometimes I gotta trick people. It's part of the thing. I gotta trick them into looking. Because otherwise they'll know, what it is I got them looking at. Nowadays, I don't even think they would even come anywhere near me. But, years ago, a year and a half, 2 years ago, when this all started, that's what I used to do. And I'd be like, so you think that's normal for all these images to be floating around in your fucking clouds? And then some of them would go government conspiracy trails, right, for example. And then I'd say, nope, I gotcha. Come on back to my house. So we'd go back to the house. We'd film this fucking smoke coming up in the fire. Put a boiling pot out on the stove too, get some steam going. So we'd have some smoke, and I'd take the pot off the fire and put it over to the side. We put some LED lights on it. Back then, actually, I was testing all the lights, and I was testing neon light compared to CFLs, compared to LEDs. I was testing a lot of different bulbs, so I had all these light fixtures. I had a neon bar sign laying on my fucking lawn so that I could see if different lights and shadows would appear under other circumstances, because I wanted to see, why is it only feline, canine, rodent, ape, human, and beast? It's got to be something to that, and there is going to be something to that. And I've also looked at the idea of, when I did the Tripping Sponge series, Rick came in and Rick was asking, how do you know that if you're seeing so many images and then someone else is seeing other images, and I'd say, yeah, that would be true if we use our imaginations. If we used our imaginations, but I'm telling you, I have to fight that myself. I have to fight that. If I see something that is only a shadow image and it's not crisp and clear, there's a lot of images that are coming through your camera right now that you're looking at that are not going to be crisp and clear. They're just shadow images. I'm only putting you through this so that you understand when you see them at another angle, they're no longer going to be a shadow image. It'll be crystal fucking clear. So then when you see it in a crystal clear position, you'll remember the shadow image. That's the way a lot of these work. But there are some that I've never found the correct angle for. As a matter of fact, I'll show you them. There's two of them on the moon, in the moon, and I cannot find the correct angle for it. It's only shadow imagery. And I explain what I think the shadow imagery looks like, but it doesn't, I don't count it as, I kind of count it the same way wearing apparel. You know, it's me seeing what I want to see, that kind of thing. But as far as all the rest of the imagery, billions upon trillions upon gazillions of fucking images that I've looked at, then no, the rest of it's all confirmable. We could all confirm it.